Greetings, welcome to the video. What you heard at the beginning is going to be the result of the process we go through here. Just a quick note before we get started, there's a code in the description in here. If you use it on our site, you can get 25% off of anything. I would recommend Chromatic Harmony since this is what we're discussing here. Let's get started. Jurassic Park. It's originally in B flat. Okay, so we're going to move this to C since my course is in C, dealing with C major and C minor and chromatic harmony. So we're going to do this in C major. I'll just play through it really quick. I'll just wing this because I'm doing this by ear and memory, and we're more interested in the melody. But I'm just playing the way it's harmonized in its original form, meaning the chords used and the types of harmony. It's just basically 1-4-5 harmony. So a basic breakdown of that whole thing is just basically 1-4-5 harmony. Our concern more is harmonizing these notes now with different chords, like the C and the B, which are the two notes used in the main part of the opening melody. And you could do this in so many different ways. You can make it sound like melancholy, but we're not going to do that. We're going to make it sound like almost like a Jurassic rag. So we can have some kind of fun bass line like this that walks. And use some chromatic harmony and chromaticism. Let's get started. I stuck up a little chord chart of chords that we're going to use. So just a basic C. Now C7, treat that B as a chromatic neighbor tone. And this works out perfectly because the next tone is part of F. Now the half diminished chord that normally would resolve into 5 has that C, but we're going to go to a 6-4 chord. That's very common to do. Now 5. And then the melody jumps to the 7th tone of that 5 chord and holds it as a suspension. Resolves really quickly. So it loiters very long on the suspension, resolves very fast. See, it does resolve, so we're going to consider it a suspension. I just want to point out with these secondary type chords, it's common to resolve to both the 5 chord and the 1 chord in second inversion, the 6-4. I put these chords like half diminished and fully diminished in the secondary dominant category because if you just add one tone to them, they become dominant chords. Fully diminished, add the D, dominant 7, flat 9. So they're very, very related. So let's review. C, C7, chromatic neighbor tone, F, F sharp half diminished, C, 6-4, G7. Suspension on the C. That is prolonged but does resolve. And this is why I'm not saying sus4. So let's continue. C, G. Let's just stick with the basic triad. Now that you'll notice that part of the melody outlines that D9 chord, so we can use it. Back to G. Now in the melody it goes G, C, so we could take advantage of that because the next note after that is F, which would make it 5 of 4. That E can be harmonized with that F sharp half diminished 7th and go right expected to the G. Now let's do something different here. Let's use the tritone substitution. Consider that C a non-harmonic tone, which resolves to the B. But you'll notice it's just a French 6 of 1, the tritone substitution. It's the same thing. I believe John Williams is dotted quarter and 16th, but that doesn't matter. It's still the same at a higher tempo the way I wrote it out. So I made an outline so I could have this little walk up and a little bit more basic version. That way I can start doing stuff like this later. And we could give it the appropriate title of Jurassic Rag. By the way, I'm not going to attempt to play this up to speed, so let's go through the basic chords. First inversion, C7, F, F sharp half diminished, C over G, G7, suspension of that tone. Okay, it does resolve, so I'm not going to look at it in anything more than that. Bar 5, just a basic G. Then the D9, which is hard to actually play the full chord like this. It's actually very difficult. G7. G7 and with the 7th as the lowest tone. I wanted to do this so I can go to that C7 like that, as a dominant chain kind of effect. Towards the F. Kind of a cyclic circle of fifths move. Which when done gives you a bit of chromaticism in some of the lines. Again, a little bit of a dominant chain happening there for a second. Well, two chords chained together as dominants. Right there. Our friend the half diminished again. Tritone substitution or French 6 of 1. It doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you understand the concept. So now what I did after this is just kind of wrote it out in a little basic piano scheme here. This little walking up bass line. And this little boom chuck kind of feel gives you a little bit of comicness to this whole theme now. Fun, playful nature. At the same time, we're creating something fun out of it, but you're also a valuable tool is to learn how to reharmonize any melody. This makes writing just melodies by themselves first easier to do, and then harmonizing them later. So here it is, up to speed again. The ability to reharmonize any melody is so invaluable, and it could actually transfer over to the styles you're into, especially when you start learning how to write melodies first before the harmony. It opens up a lot of doors of possibilities when you learn how to reharmonize.